Dodger pitcher Ross Stripling is currently doing prep work, but not for a game. Today, Stripling and his friend Cooper Searles are preparing to record a new episode of the Big Swing podcast, which the pair launched earlier this year.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, what's up? We just finished our 33rd episode, I believe. We do pretty much one a week, and have been doing it since spring training, so we're about, 5 or 6 months in now. This is Kersh.
Yeah.
This is Kersh, me, you, perfect. We kind of try and reach out and do as many different things as we can. Obviously, kind of a focus on baseball and the Dodgers, but also making sure that we're keeping it interesting and mixing it up as well.
Tense.
Yeah, it's the real deal.
Yeah.
You nervous?
Should I be nervous, Strip?
No. Hard-hitting questions only. Clayton was probably the first name I wrote down. When I thought about who do I want on this podcast, and you just know how rare it is to get a Clayton Kershaw interview. So he was the first name I wrote down, but I also wanted to, get better. I wanted to get reps in. I didn't want to use him to get the podcast off the ground, kind of like I did Cody Bellinger.
I don't know if I'm that interesting.
You're that interesting.
Your interview skills better?
No, I'd say they're getting better, but they're not great. They're average to quite average. When I finally had the chance to sit down with Kershaw, I wanted it to be the real deal, and I wanted to know that we're ready.
Can you talk in your mic, Kersh? Just want to make it picking you up.
Check 1.
Kershaw rarely opens up, man. He doesn't do a lot of interviews, especially ones over about 5 to 10 minutes. So this should be a lot of fun.
No makeup for me or anything?
You want it?
I haven't even showered.
That's nice. I was wondering what that smell was. All right, swingers, welcome to another episode of the Big Swing Podcast. Joined as always, Cooper Searles, and we are very lucky today to be joined in Dodger Stadium by Clayton Kershaw. Kersh, thanks for coming, man.
Hey, anytime, Strip, anytime.
Yeah. So I want to get right into it. Can you describe, let's go back 5 years. Describe a young Ross Stripling coming up in the organization.
Strip hasn't changed a bit. He's the same guy. Become pretty good buddies. I ask him financial tips all the time, and he's my president of my fantasy football team, and so he does a lot more than baseball. It's great.
Yeah,
that was so politically correct. I annoyed the heck out of Kersh when I was young, and I know I did, and I was hoping he would get into it.
Well, his lack of feel is something that he doesn't have much feel. Just like if you have a bad game, or if you're not pitching well, he's just so smiley, and he'll come give you a high five right in the middle of the dugout.
Strip mentioned that he learned some routine stuff from you, and I know your stuff's super meticulous.
Yeah, Strip's talking about the timing and stuff of it. I'll go out on the field every time at 6:23, and then I'll play catch at 6:40. I'll be on the mound at 6:48. I'll walk in at 7:02. The game starts at 7:10. I'll walk out at 7:08. So, yes, that sounds a little crazy, but if you do it enough, it's just it's like when you wake up for school. You know exactly what time you have to wake up for school, so you're not late. And it becomes it's 7:46. It's not 7, and I don't know. Maybe that was just me, the weird kid at school, but that was just it. Yeah.
First, me and my buddy Cooper, man, we did a 15-minute episode, and it was just an absolute battle to try and find 15 minutes of content. And then, the other day we did Alana Rizzo, and I think we did an over an hour interview like it was nothing. We've definitely gotten better, gotten more comfortable, and now, we basically spit them out once a week, almost effortlessly. What are some of the biggest adjustments that you remember making throughout your career that have gotten to where you are now?
In 2009, I made it a big league team out of spring training and was pitching pretty bad all of April and really into May. And I got called in the principal's office basically. And Joe Torre was my manager at the time. And Don Mattingly, who ended up being my manager after, was a hitting coach. And they called me in, and Donnie, he showed me this chart. It was hey, you never throw your curveball for a strike. You basically have one pitch. You don't throw a changeup. And Joe Torre was hey, basically, if you don't learn another pitch, we're going to send you down, and you're going to have to learn it. So it was basically adapt or die. So at that point, that day, I threw a bullpen, started throwing a slider, and just started throwing it in the game the next start. I was I have to do this.
Most people don't just pick up a slider in a bullpen and throw it and are throwing it in the next start, and then all of a sudden it's one of the best pitches in the big league. So that was meant to be. So I get to know Clayton on a daily basis. I get to see his happy-go-lucky side in the dugout, in the locker room, in the weight room, and just how generous he is with his time, how good he is to young players. He's such a family man, family-oriented father. And then now to maybe have the chance to kind of get our podcast viewers to see him open up is really awesome. Last thing, man, we want to do a speed round. We do a speed round with a lot of our guests, and they're usually hard-hitting questions. only.
I'm ready,
Yeah.
I think.
So if you had like a full season of hitting, let's say you had 600 at bats.
Yeah.
What do you think your average would be?
177 with 2 homers.
That's precise.
Maybe 4 homers. 2 homers. 4 homers. 4 homers. Strip, what would you hit?
Oh my gosh. 084.
With 600 at bats?
Yeah. 084, I'd be stoked. 0 homers. Man, 600 bats, 487 strikeouts, maybe 2 walks. All right, Clayton, man, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the podcast, man. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks for opening up with us. This has obviously been a long time coming, so I appreciate you.
Yeah, it's about time I get on
Yeah,
this
I know,
thing.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
Thanks for coming on, man.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Sweet.
Sick.
Yeah.